Welcome to the Legacy Leaders Podcast. Are you doing the best for your client to help them create their legacy? Are you creating a plan that goes far beyond finances to help people ensure that it becomes the driving force behind all decisions? On this podcast, hosts Katie Beth Hand and Stan Miller will help you with growing your practice and your clients' peace of mind. Together, they bring the best and brightest minds to share with you how to help your clients develop their best legacy. And now, here are your hosts, Katie Beth and Stan.
Welcome to the Legacy Leaders Podcast. I'm your guest host, Crystal Salceda Johnson. Today, my guest is Realtor expert, Halah Al-Hamaydeh. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, perfect. Now, Halah, thank you so much for joining me. To give a little background, Halah and my oldest daughter grew up together. I believe y'all met in elementary school, right?
In middle school.
Middle school, okay. But I know throughout these years, y'all have been able to grow this incredible friendship that I definitely admire, that friendship. So I'm very excited to have you on today as my first podcast guest. I think the first time I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I said I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Good, thanks. So I think the first time that we talked about this was back in May at my granddaughter's birthday party, and you're finally here. So sorry about the delay. It's been a little bit on my plate, but I'm glad you're here.
No, that's okay. I'm happy to be here. This is perfect timing, so it works out.
Good. So I'm glad we're finally able to make it and make it happen and just in time, because I know you're about to go on another adventure soon, right?
Yes, I am. I'm going to Colombia for my friend's 30th birthday.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Have you ever been to Colombia?
Yes. No, I haven't.
Oh. And weren't you recently on another trip?
Yeah, so I just came back from Canada a few weeks ago. I went to Canada for a wedding. And then after the wedding, I went to go visit my cousin who lives in Toronto. So I was in Canada for 10 days, and then now I'm going to be in Colombia for 10 days. So a lot of travel.
Wow, great. So do you have any travel tips for the audience?
I do. I think just doing your research before you go anywhere. I think that's the most important thing, is just planning out in advance where you're going to go. For me, Canada was a really last minute decision. I didn't think I was going to go to my friend's wedding. And then, what my brother actually talked me into it, like maybe a week before the wedding. So it was super last minute, and it felt really chaotic trying to take the time off and pack and then figure out what I'm going to do while I'm there and how long the trip was going to be. Colombia, I had a lot more time to plan because it was for my friend's birthday. So it's something we've been talking about. So that would be my number one thing, is plan it. And then also just doing your research. So right now, TikTok is super popular. Most of the things on our itinerary for Colombia is things that we found on TikTok, just by searching the name of where we're going and then seeing what other people are doing, what they recommend and what they don't recommend. It's a lot easier that way than just going through Google, because you're actually seeing the people, you're seeing the pictures and the videos of what they're experiencing over there.
Oh, wow. Well, I look forward to seeing all those beautiful pictures. Those Canada pictures were amazing. That's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It'll be so great.
Good, good. Well, I hope you have safe travels, and I'll look forward to those pictures. So
thank you.
Picking my first professional to interview took me a while, because as a woman attorney and a law firm owner, it's been always important to me to show the girls in my life, including my 2 daughters and my grandbaby, my sweet little angel, Ivy Ray, the importance of being a strong, independent career woman. So in honor of that, I wanted to spotlight a strong, independent career woman as my first guest. That's why I specifically asked you to be my first guest, after seeing all the amazing social media content that you've been posting and all the incredible things that you've been doing in real estate. I'm still in awe knowing that that little girl I knew not so long ago has grown into such a strong, independent career woman. So first off, I want to say how proud I am of you, my daughter, and your entire tight-knit little group, because all of you have grown into some awesome adults.
So. Thank you so much. That really means so much to me. I mean, even when you asked me to do it, I know first we talked about it at Ivy's birthday, but I was like, this is such an honor. It's so full circle, because it's I think of when I used to go to Alicia's, I think I went to her house to y'all's house maybe the most out of all of my friends. I was there every weekend because we lived so close. And so it's just very full circle to like be here and just, be so grown up and everything. It definitely, even just seeing like Ivy, I'm like, wow, we really have come a long way since like we were two little 12-year-olds. So I'm happy to be here. I'm very honored. I'm very excited. And I think it'll be good.
Yes, and also I want to let the audience know, so we're going to be doing some presentations, live presentations, maybe some webinars.
Yeah.
That way we can both,
Yeah.
I can teach the estate plan inside, and Halah's going to tell you all about the real estate and tips. And so yeah, so I'm excited. When you get back, we'll have to hit the ball running those presentations. So
It'll
let's
be fun. Yes, I'm excited for those as well.
talk real estate. So tell me a little bit about the type of real estate that you sell.
So I do residential real estate. That's what I specialize in. And then as of this year and a little bit of last year, I started doing apartment locating. I try to just follow the trends of real estate. So when the interest rates started to started to go up a little bit, a lot of my clients weren't able to purchase homes anymore, just with the demographic that I work with, and a lot of them needed apartments. So I kind of shifted my focus a little bit to be able to offer them that. And so I joined a bigger team that was able to offer that service and teach me how to do that instead of just residential real estate. But those are pretty much the two big things that I do, finding apartments. And then with residential real estate, I help people buy, sell, or invest. And then I have contacts who can help you like rent out your homes. I can't do that personally, but I definitely can refer my clients to people who can help with that.
And what areas do you cover?
We cover all of San Antonio and surrounding areas. So all those small towns on the outskirts of San Antonio, like going all the way up to pretty much New Braunfels is where we cover. And then all those outskirts, cities on the outskirts, like South Side as well.
And why did you choose real estate as your career?
I actually love sharing my real estate story because I feel like it's really unique. But when I was in college, I actually worked at a daycare, and one of the families that I worked for there had asked me to babysit for them. And along the way, I needed more money. I had quit working at the daycare and I was babysitting full time so I could focus on school. So I went to them asking them if they would give me more hours for babysitting, and they were like, well, we don't really need a babysitter for that long, but we do own a real estate brokerage, and we need a secretary there. So if you want to do it, we had made an agreement to just, I believe it was like 2 months. Like I had started in January and I was only going to work until spring break. And then I was going to be done. Like I was just going to have my extra money. I was going to go and travel, and that was it. But when it came towards my spring break, I just loved it so much, being in the office with them and hearing them talk on the phone and seeing the way that they were with their clients. I wanted to do that. I was so happy to be there at work. I loved what I was doing and learning. And there's so much to learn in real estate. So, once it came time for us to part ways, I was like, how would you guys feel about me staying? And they were like, we were hoping you would ask. We think you're a really good fit for this company. So I started off with them as a secretary, and then they just kind of started giving me more and more tasks. And I ended up being almost like an office manager because I was the only employee that they had. And once they taught me everything, they started having me be their transaction coordinator. So that's who does the back end side of the real estate. So all the documents and everything. And I loved that as well. And then they were like, we don't have anything else we can give you. So at this point, you just need to get your license. So that's how I got licensed. That was a little over 4 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So would you say anybody else influenced you besides them?
Honestly, no, it was all them. I worked with them unlicensed for almost 2 years. And then they pushed me to get my license, and it was the best thing I did.
So what do you enjoy most about the business?
What I enjoy most is honestly the whole process of helping someone buy a house. I do like to help people sell houses, but what I enjoy most is when I get a first-time home buyer. And at that point, it's more than just buying a house. It's almost like making a dream come true. You have people who, they come and they've been trying to purchase a house for so many years and they just haven't been able to. And now they're finally able to, and they want you to guide them. It's the most rewarding and like heartwarming feeling ever. So that's what I enjoy the most.
Good. And what don't you like?
I think for me, I like to be in control of a lot of things, and you don't really get that in real estate. Like when the ups and downs of real estate with like the mortgage buyer's market versus seller's market and interest rates and all those things are really out of my control, and then it makes it kind of hard for me and it affects my business. So I don't like the ups and downs of real estate.
So, as an estate planning attorney, I always like to ask this question. Have you ever seen any situations where a family went through difficult times due to their lack of estate planning?
So I haven't had that happen to me personally. I have heard horror stories of deals falling through because of that. I think the closest experience I have to that is when my clients wanted to sell their house a year or two ago. We found out that the previous owners before them didn't, there was an issue there with their estate planning. And so technically, the person who sold it to them was never on the will. But because it had been so long ago, they sold the property like in 1980. And we were able to connect with the lawyer from there. And it was just, I had no part of it. So I just let them handle everything and we were still able to close. It did delay our closing by almost 2 months. So that was not fun, but I haven't had anything more than that.
And who would be your ideal client for referral to work with?
For me, an ideal client is a first-time home buyer. I will work with anything, with anyone, not anything. I would work with anyone that wants to look for an apartment, buy a house, sell a house, invest in houses. But what's most fun for me is going to be a first-time home buyer. I just love the process of, someone really just giving me all their trust. This is the biggest transaction that they're going to make, and I get to help them through it. So that would be my number one.
Do you think the real estate associations do enough training or education on subjects related to estate planning?
Honestly, not so much. We don't really cover it. So we do have classes like that for continued education, but it's something that you take if you want. So it's not a mandatory class. I have taken it a few times over the years, but definitely not as much as I should. On my team that I'm on now, they do require you to do a certain amount of continuing education. And then to keep your license active, you also have to keep up with that. But for estate planning specifically, it's not a required course. So I wish there was a little bit more training on that.
And so, what has been your greatest experience when completing business with someone?
I think the greatest experience for me, I know I feel like I sound like a broken record, but it really is just that first, like watching someone's dreams come true. That's always for me. Like it never fails when I help someone purchase a house and it's everything that they want. And then we get to the closing table and seeing them just sign off on that last paper and knowing that this is it for them. Like they now have keys to their house, whether it's the last paper they signed or just giving them their keys. The end of the process of helping someone purchase a house for the first time is always going to be my favorite thing about this business.
And what's been your worst experience when completing business with someone?
I haven't had too many bad experiences, thankfully. With the whole issue last year or the year before with my client not being able to sell their house, that was more scary than it was bad, just because I had no idea what was going on and what was going to happen. But aside from that, the only bad experiences I have is if like me and the listing agent or the seller's agent on the other side don't see eye to eye. That's pretty much it. So I feel like I've been pretty lucky. I don't have too many horror stories.
Okay. What marketing sources do you use to provide awareness of the properties you're marketing?
So right now, being in the year that we're in, we are using every possible platform that we can. So TikTok has been really big. So we have been finding ways to incorporate our videos on there. Instagram, of course, is probably our number one source for business. And that's on both the apartment side and the real estate side. Facebook is still a pretty big one, but honestly, it's going to come down to Instagram as number one, and then just Google, making sure that our websites and everything we use have highly rated, I believe it's SEOs are what they're called. So we have marketing teams to take care of all of that stuff for us.
So do you have any tips for social media?
Yes, be consistent. I struggle with this one so much. I'll be doing so good and I'll be posting like every day for weeks, and then I'll go on vacation like I did last month, and everything will fall apart. But if you can stay consistent, that's what's going to get you the most business on social media. And then just planning it out. So a lot of what I post is like I take it the day of and I post, but it's good to have something that pre-planned. So if I don't go out and show a property today, I still have something on the back burner that I can just post at the end of the day if I didn't get any new content. So definitely staying consistent and then having that plan in the background in case you need it. There are so many classes that they offer in real estate where you get to see like the different market trends, and social media just is changing so much every single day. So it's hard to give tips like for specific platforms, but the number one thing that can go across any platform, anytime, any day is just being consistent.
And what are 3 reasons why someone should hire you?
That's a good question. So 3 things. I think number one is going to be just the knowledge. I've been licensed for over 4 years now, but I've been in the industry for close to 6 years. Before I got licensed, I made sure that I knew everything I possibly could about this market before I went and got my license. I'm very thorough with my research, taking the classes I need to take, and just making sure that every week, every month, like I am doing everything I can to be sharp in my industry. There's a lot of competition out there, so you want to make sure you know what you're talking about, so that way when someone does come to you, they don't need to go anywhere else. Number 2, I think, would be our marketing. So now the team that I'm on, I have my own videographer. We really push social media. This is really big for people who want to sell their house, but also when you're wanting to purchase a house or find an apartment, all the different platforms and connections we have can help us find you deals that are off market, that aren't being advertised anywhere else. So our marketing really, really comes in handy for that. Number 3, I think for me is just I take everything really personally, which people may not think is a good thing, but in this industry, it's never been transactional for me. Every client that I've ever worked with, it has been a personal deal. I care for everyone like they're my friends or family. And I think that's really important to have, especially with the ups and downs of the market. Sometimes realtors get really aggressive or they get really desperate and they just want to make a sale. For me, that's never the case. Like if I start helping you and then we find out that maybe now's not the best time to buy, that's okay. I'll help you rent. You can't rent right now either. That's also okay. I'll just give you your space until you're ready. I'll never push you to make a sale if you're not comfortable. I'll never put you in a place where you feel like you're not making the right decision.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like you. So what is one thing, besides all that great stuff you just shared, what is one thing that people need to know about you?
One thing people need to know about me, I will bend over backwards for any client that I have. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing too much, but at the end of the day, it's always worth it to me. So whether that means like you need to be calling me at 11 p.m. to ask me about your deal, or I need to be working like overtime on the weekends, showing you as many properties as humanly possible, I'm going to do all that just because I know at the end of the day, like this is why I'm here. This is why I do what I do. I've always been the type of person who likes to help. And so that's what I'm going to do.
Now, the phrase trusted advisor, it's used often, something professionals aspire to be. What does term trusted advisor mean to you in terms of a trusted real estate advisor?
To me, I see it in the sense of when people come to me and they're like, I have no idea what to do, but I want to buy a house. What can you tell me? And then I'm like, okay, now it's my responsibility. They're trusting me with quite possibly the biggest financial transaction of their entire life. So that's what it means to me, just being ethical and knowledgeable and helping them get to whatever their real estate goal is, whether that is purchasing their first house, second house, investing in a property, but just making sure that I do all of that with honesty, integrity, being ethical, and just taking care of my clients the entire time.
And why should people choose to get a realtor?
Because a lot of people try to go and get houses without having a realtor, and then there's no one looking out for them. When you are purchasing a house, or looking for an apartment, our services are 100% free. So at that point, I just say, why not? When you have a realtor who is looking out for you, you're going to make sure you're getting the best deal out there, and that there's no funny business in the contracts. A lot of people just sign and they don't read exactly what's on there. And then they come and they're like, well, I didn't know this was going to happen, or I didn't know they were going to keep my money. I can't help you because you're unrepresented and you didn't check the contract twice. When it comes to selling your property and you actually have to pay a realtor, it's good to use one because they're going to make sure that you are being marketed on every platform. They're going to do all the dirty work for you. All you have to do is give them the address. They'll make sure everything else is taken care of. But really, at the end of the day, a realtor just protects you. Like I said earlier, this is a really big investment. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could really essentially screw yourself over, both financially and just in general with needing a place to live.
Who are your best referral sources?
Honestly, anyone and everyone. I feel like when people get more experience, sometimes they start to look for specific referral partners or specific types of clients. For me, I'm always happy to help anyone and everyone. So for me, anyone who's willing to refer to me is a good referral source for me.
Now, is there anything that you'd like to add that for the audience that we haven't covered?
No, I feel like we covered everything.
So where can we find you on social media?
I'm most active on Instagram. So my Instagram is Homes with Halah. I do also have TikTok and Facebook in the works, but Instagram is going to be my number one.
And what is the best way to contact you? Is it through Instagram?
Honestly, it's going to be through my email. I feel like that's what I check the most. Instagram is a good one too, but sometimes notifications get lost in there. If I have too many people liking and messaging and commenting at the same time, it gets a little hard. But for me, I know when something hits my email, it's business and it needs to be looked at immediately. So I think email or calling me. I'm like a very much on the phone type of girl. So if you call me, I'm going to answer.
You want to share your email and your phone number?
Yes. So my email is going to be my first name, which is Halah, Halah, at kw.com. Super easy. And then my number is 210-685-9030.
Great. Well, thanks for listening to everybody. I'm always in the search for the next great guest. So if you're a realtor, financial advisor, insurance agent, or CPA, or if you spend your spare time volunteering in your community for a special cause close to your heart, get in contact with me through the link listed below so we can highlight you on the next episode. This has been the Legacy Leaders Podcast with your guest host, Crystal Salceda Johnson. My guest today was Halah Al-Hamaydeh. For more information on Halah and the work she does, visit her Instagram at Homes with Halah. We'll also link it in the show notes for you, along with her contact, email, and phone number. Halah, thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Legacy Leaders Podcast with Katie Beth Hand and Stan Miller. For more information on them and the show, please visit pinnaclelegacylaw.com. If you like what you've learned today, do share the program with your friends and subscribe wherever podcasts are found.